Let's start off. I'm here with Ewan McGregor and Mike Mills with the film Beginners. I want to start off with you, Ewan, and I have kind of a general question. Yeah, you're an M&M's guy, I take it.
No, I wouldn't support any candy, so it's very bad for your teeth.
Oh, very good. Well, you just happen to have starred three of my favorite films of all time. Trainspotting, Moulin Rouge, and The Pillow Book. Three very distinctive movies, all, I think, fantastic. And I want to know, from your point of view as an actor, how responsible are you for the greatness of those films?
Totally. 100% down to me. No, our film is a collaboration with lots of people, you know, and most immediately with your director and your other actors. And but then when it comes to filming it, there's a real dance with the camera operator and the DP and the mix of the technical side of the business and the emotional side of the job is what I find fascinating about it, acting on film as opposed to acting on stage maybe. But of course it's a collaboration with many, many, many people. And I suppose the odd thing about being an actor is you pour your heart and soul into something for the length of time when you're shooting, and then you walk away from it, and then there's a whole other process that happens without you being involved at all, which is all the post-production, which is hugely important as well. I mean, so.
And so then, Mike, the next real question for you then is, so what is it about the Beginners that Ewan brought that no other actor, you know, actors are a dime a dozen in a lot of ways. If Ewan hadn't have been able to do the role,
Dare you?
How
dare you?
But what is it that Ewan brought to Beginners that no one else would have or could have?
I think watching him work with both Christopher and Melanie, like, it's amazing how present he is, and he's like doing the accent, dealing with the dog, dealing with his other people, but he's like very authentically present with the person, truly reactive to what's going on, like very alive, like truly alive. Beyond doing all this wonderful naturalistic acting stuff, there's something emotionally real and alive going on. And I think especially in like a straight male movie star dude, that's very hard to find.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well, you sat up.
Nice.
You didn't want to add, you just wanted to insult, right?
No, that was nice.
The thing is, I'm wondering, you know, in terms of what you, in the press notes, you said that one of the things that you found attractive about the project Beginners was that Mike seemed a very sort of emotionally open guy, and that you felt you were a bit that way too. And I was wondering, did you mean personally, or did you mean as an artist, as an actor?
Well, they're the same thing, I think. You know, I don't think they're necessarily very different. Yeah.
When you look for the core of a creature, a performance, do you look at that sort of the emotional essence rather than kind of a cerebral acting technique component?
Well, it's just very uncomplicated for me. I would never think of it in terms of, like, I don't have a list of things to check off when I'm looking for a project to work on. I just go on my instinct, and if I'm grabbed by a story and the story starts playing in my mind as I'm reading it, and I can see myself and the role that I'm reading, then I'm in. You know, it's really as simple as that. So that's a combination of lots of different things, and in different movies, it's different levels of each. You know, so sometimes it's very emotional piece, or you know, I don't know. It's just stories, really, at the end of the day for me.
Christopher Plummer has said that you're one of the rare actors who underplays. Do you think that's true? And if so, are you conscious of that, or you look insulted?
No, not at all. No, I not at all. I just liked it to feel real. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't try and I'm never aware of underplaying or overplaying. I'm just trying to make it feel real, and that's it's at its best when it's like that. It's at its best when it feels like. I mean, working with Christopher, you know, he gives the most extraordinary performance in this film. But when I was working with him, it just felt like my dad. He was my dad, and I was Oliver, and we were playing these scenes. I was looking after him, or there was never a moment, and he's the same. You see, he never felt like he was acting. It was just like we were there and living through the scenes.
Speaking of keeping it real, then, this is as real as a movie gets, I guess, for you, Mike. This is not only a true story, but a personally true story. You want to give us a little background about the genesis of Beginners?
Well, it is. My real dad did. Actually, my parents met here in Seattle at Garfield High School.
Is that right?
And they were World War II vets, and after that got married in '55 and stayed married for 44 years. And my mom passed away, and then my dad came out of the closet at age 75 and started this new, tremendously rich, loving, new gay life, and new relationship with me, his son, and new conversations about love and relationships. So that was the germ beginning. That was the seed that started it.
And how dicey was it to have someone else? I mean, great actors, albeit, it's not really your dad and it's not really you.
Yeah.
Was that uncomfortable or searing, or was it a relief to have someone else sort of take that story and run with it?
A huge relief. That's what I didn't want to do a memoir, but I felt the story was like really human and really rich, and went to really deep places and really funny places. So the only way I knew how to write it was from my perspective. So I sort of accidentally got to this autobiographical place, and I didn't want to just talk to myself. I wanted to talk to an audience, and they're so good at it. They're both in different ways. Christopher's like crazily in tune with the audience through the camera. Don't you feel like he just knows? I feel like he's always very intuitively thinking about the audience. And then I think Ewan too, there's something about him, there's some part of his talent is like this way to communicate, right? It happens in his face all the time. Yeah. I feel like you're just feeling his sternum is more open than most of ours. So you're getting a lot of like emotional, energetic information all the time. And that's like a relationship with an audience. So that's what I wanted. I wanted to reach out.
One of the fascinating things I think about being an actor is that you're probably best known for being the young Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars. Can you talk about the difference from an actor's point of view of life with the George Lucas phenomenon and then a Mike Mills very personal...
Let me just finish that sentence.
Yeah.
And compared with your experience with a very personal, intimate kind of movie?
Well, I wouldn't compare them, because they're both very different things. And Star Wars is as different from Beginners as it is with all the other films I've made. I mean, someone said the other day, like, you jumped from the Star Wars phenomenon into this independent film, and I said, yeah, like, it was a 10-year jump. I did the last Star Wars film 10 years ago. So then they're just different. Of course they are. Every film is unique. Every set you walk onto is different because it's made up with different people and different. The story's different. The characters are different. They're different. Director and crew, and so every film has a atmosphere and a life of its own, and some some are smaller and more intimate, and something like Star Wars, there's hundreds of people on set. There's no, it's very often like a green screen or blue screen environment. There's no set, and something like Beginners is this is the room we're in. This is the actor you're with, and these are the words we say, and it's real. And in Star Wars, it's much more, you have to use your imagination much more, because very often you're talking into thin air, and the person you're speaking to isn't there. It's a voice off the side. So it's just it's almost like a completely different job. It's a different profession. And they're both valid. They're both interesting, in their different ways.
And do you see, you're like in the middle of your career. Do you have like heights you still want to climb? Do you feel like I'm firing on all cylinders now, and
I'm pretty much done now.
So Beginners really is your swan song. Is that what
Yeah.
you're telling me?
Slow downhill slide.
That's kind of it. I think I've done, really all that I had to do.
You have worked with some incredible directors. You just recently, last year, you got a lot of acclaim for The Ghostwriter, a Roman Polanski movie.
Yeah.
Are there certain directors that you still hope to?
Oh, of course. Listen, there's lots of. There's just you and me.
Well, there is Miranda July, who I understand you have some.
Yeah, who snubbed me on her last movie. I totally made myself available for her film, but oh no.
I'm talking to her.
No, listen. There's lots of. I'm not somebody who produces my own films. I don't find stories to make. I really count on what comes my way in terms of scripts and stuff. So that long may it continue, because it's good fun.
And speaking of Miranda July, another great young talent. Okay, anything you want to say about being married to another film director? Are you guys at all rivals in any way? You have different styles of filmmaking, but relatively personal stories that are told.
Yeah. Well, we met at Sundance in competition, so this is our whole being together has sort of been in this bed. But, I'm married to the hottest filmmaker out there, and that's not bad. And I get to sleep with her. I get to have sex with her
So you don't
on a
think,
pretty regular basis.
Good for you,
Yeah.
you don't think
it's
she
good.
needs to be one notch prettier, as she says in her
Oh, in her
latest
movie, she says this. She says this.
I
in
was
her
about to
movie.
take him down for that. I wouldn't have anyone saying that about
Yeah.
me.
Okay, well, I'm getting a cutoff sign. I can talk to you guys all afternoon. Thanks for coming to Seattle. Congratulations on your award.
Thank you
I
very
hope it
much.
goes well tonight with
Thank
the
you.
onstage interview.
Oh yeah, cheers, thanks.
Yeah, bye-bye.